to Education in the Diaspora. My name is Tisha, and this is the platform where people who have studied abroad share their experiences and give us tips on how we can apply for schools and scholarships. Right. So today we are talking about how to handle scholarship application rejection, because that is also part of the process. You will receive a lot of them. If you have already started applying, by now you might have received a lot. And I have three wonderful gentlemen here who are going to share their experiences, the lessons they learned from the rejections, and how they handled it. Okay. So without much ado, I want to introduce my guest here. I have here Mr. George Jemfi, who is a PhD student at the University of Queensland in Australia. I also have here Mr. Tunde Olaseje, who is also a PhD student at the University of Queensland, also in Australia as well. And then I have here Mr. Frederick Adomako, who is a master student at the Illinois State University. So, welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you, Tisha, for having us.
Yeah, so Mr. Frederick Adomako, how is the United States?
We are doing well. We are almost in the summer. We are supposed to be in the summer. Unfortunately, Chicago has a weird weather, so we are still experiencing some cold. Wow. Hopefully, that's going to change in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I hope so. And Australia, Mr. Tunde and Mr. James.
I think the reverse is the case comparing to the United States. We are heading towards winter here, and they are going away from winter and entering summer at their own side, which is quite interesting. The diversity across across the world. Yeah.
Some people are cold, others are warm.
Some are warm and some are hot, so it's interesting.
Wow. Welcome once again to Education in the Diaspora.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. George, I want to start with you. How many schools did you apply
to? I don't remember the number of schools I applied to.
So that means the application, a lot.
A lot, yeah. I used to count them, but when it got to a time, I lost count of them. So the process started way back in, I think, 2014, 2013. Master's application and PhD applications combined. Yeah, and you can imagine the number of applications I put in for masters and those for PhD. At least I can count the PhD ones, but for masters,
you don't remember.
Yeah. Wow. I don't remember. There are a lot.
Mr. Adomako, do you remember the number of schools you applied to?
So I actually had 2 rounds of applications. The first one was in 2017, and then the second one was in 2018. So in 2017, because I didn't have much information, I think I applied to just one school. And but then in 2018, when I had to apply, I ended up applying to about 5 schools.
Wow. And Mr. Tunde?
Yeah, I think to me, I can't actually picture the number of schools that I applied to, because I started the application around early 2015. That was my final year at the university. Started applying for a master's degree abroad, not a PhD anyway, unlike George. I only focus on master's programs, and ever since 2015, 2016, before the end of, I've been applying, but I eventually got one towards the end of 2017. So it was like a two and a half year plus of application.
Wow.
So it's a long run with countless of applications.
Wow. So how many rejections did you receive?
I lost count. There was a time I had to change my emails. Maybe it was the email. Yeah, maybe it was the email that was a bad luck for me. You know, there are times you have so many bad thoughts with you that will it be I'm using the wrong email? I just have to open another email account maybe this email would be a good one for me to
Oh,
bring the awaiting good news. So it was a
oh,
countless of
Uh,
rejections. So I can't. It will be more than close to 100,
wow.
close to, because well, we still talk about it during the course of the broadcast anyway.
So, Mr. Johnson, do you remember the number of rejection emails you received?
I think I have a similar experience with Tunde. Yeah. So from 2014 to 2013 to 2015, that is when I started applying for masters. Yeah. So 2.5 years of application. And I also ended up I didn't change my email. I closed down that email account. Like I thought there was something wrong with that. Yeah. I
Oh,
closed it down completely. I shut it down because whenever I opened that email account, all I saw was we regret to, we regret to.
oh,
Thank you for your
Unfortunately,
application. Unfortunately,
apologies.
Unfor- unfortunately. So those emails were a lot, and I didn't want to see those emails. So
Oh,
at the end of 2015, I closed that email account. But I still want to retrieve that email account, but it's too late. It's too late. So
oh,
yeah, a lot of rejections, and I don't like hearing the word the phrase or the opening sentence we regret to,
I'm
or
sorry.
unfortunately, because I know what comes next. I know
Mhm.
what comes next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, so and Mr. Fred, out of the five, how many rejections did you receive?
Um, I think I got two rejections, and then I had three admissions.
Oh,
So, I mean, after that, I've had a couple of rejections, though. I
mm,
mean, the idea is that if you get to understand that these rejections are part of the application process, then you get to live with it because it's a
mm-hmm.
competition that you are taking part of, and so
Yeah,
basically, whatever comes with it, you just
you
have, yeah.
accept. So, were you given reasons why your application was rejected?
Um, I wouldn't say so. I think mostly they have this generic message they put out there, and most of them the message they give you is they had a lot of people applying, and so even though you qualify, they chose there were other people that were more qualified, so they had to choose those people, and so basically those are some of the messages that they, and I think they try to do it in such a way such that um, they don't make specifics as to why your application got rejected,
Mm,
because most people that apply to these schools have done research. They know they have the qualification to apply,
mm-hmm.
so most of them try not to like get into the specifics as to why your application they couldn't offer you the admission.
Wow. And Mr. Tunde, is it the same with you?
yeah, like Fred has said, it's almost generic. But this morning, while I was opening up my email to check the list of the rejections
Oh,
I
I wish
encountered,
we could see some of the rejections.
yeah, I forwarded some to George. You could see a couple of rejections. So as there was one that they addressed the reason why I was rejected. They
Mm-hmm.
stated that I did not address the career paths that I'm going to take after the completion of the program. That the career path was not specific enough. I think that was one of a specific feedback that
Mm,
I got from those the scholarship body. So unlike the other ones that were generic, I think that
mm.
was specific and it could help you during next subsequent application. You know
Yeah.
where your mistakes are, what you can
Mm-hmm.
improve on to be able to be at a better edge of getting the scholarship. I think it helps when scholarship body do this, but most just use the generic terms. Our close to 90% of them just use the generic. We have, though you are qualified, but we have some people that have the
Mm.
strong one of strong application. So since the scholarship quota is just two, we can only offer. So it's just that generic stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
you will just find few of them that provide those specifics.
Wow. And Mr. Jeffy, did you also receive a specific reason why your application was rejected?
Yeah, like the others, like I also had generic feedback for master's application. I remember there was one specific feedback that said I didn't have the English language
Proficient.
proficiency. Yeah, that was for one university, but I think most universities exempt Ghanaians from writing those tests.
Mm.
So I brushed that off. And as Fred said, yeah, they just give you generic information. Like a lot of people applied. Yeah, if the PowerPoint where you would see that one of the
Yeah.
screenshot I sent you, yeah, they told me 33 people applied, and
Yeah.
then they admitted only three. And I followed up for more specific feedback as to what I can do. And they said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you have to write more research. You don't have enough research papers and you don't have conference experiences. Meanwhile, I had demonstrated that in my application, but
Yeah.
then they have their own way. So I just had to let it pass and then learn from whatever reasons they put across. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you feel when you opened the email and then you see, I'm sorry, apologies, I regret to. How do you feel? Like, how did you
Yeah.
feel?
Um, so initially in the beginning stages, I felt it felt so devastating, like
Did you
because you
cry?
go in there with full confidence that well, for the screenshot I sent you, I nearly cried because I felt I met all the requirements.
Oh.
That was about 2, 3 years ago. I felt I met all the requirements, and they saw that as not enough. So it was devastating, and it was an exchange between them for like a week, back and forth. Give me more reasons why. You said I haven't done this, but I've shown in my application that I've done what you said I haven't done. So why are you saying that I don't qualify? And then they came back saying, okay, we can let you apply for a master's um, degree, and then we will lead you straight into the PhD program. And I said that is not what I wanted. So among all the applications, I think that was my applications. That was the one I felt like devastated about, like, in terms of
Oh.
response, because but I've ticked all the boxes and I was still rejected. But for by the time, I mean, this one was even after several experience of applying for PhD and I mean admissions abroad and getting rejected several times. But this one was, I mean,
Very,
so
very good.
special to the extent that I had all my heart in it. But yeah,
Oh.
the lessons were very profound there. But yeah, what can you do? They are the one giving you the scholarship, so
Mhm, mhm.
the admission. So if they say the only three people qualified, you don't have anything to do. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was a sad experience, and well,
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay, so
I'm mm, okay.
yeah. So Mr. Adumako, how did you also feel when you saw the I regret to or we regret to?
So I think one thing about failing about with regards to doing something the first time is it helps you when you have to do it again to expect the unexpected. In the sense that I made mention of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Before I put out any application, I make sure I have like done my research. I'm asking a lot of questions. So that was the reason why I didn't end up applying to so many schools, because it costs a lot of money doing that. And so when I applied to
Mm,
that one
mm,
school, I was certain I was going to get admission, which I did. That was how come I ended up applying to just one. And then after paying my CV's fee, my visa fee, a lot of money's paid, I was waiting on the funding.
Mm-hmm.
Then on a Friday, I paid my visa fee. and the CV's fee. On Tuesday, they sent me a message saying that they couldn't get funding for me. So that was my first time. So it helped me to understand that until you have everything that you need, it's not over. There's work that still needs to be done. So when I had to apply the following year, that was how come I ended up increasing the number of schools that I had to apply to. And so even though I had done the research, it was something I expected that okay, it's going to be another year of competition. So if I qualified to get admission last year, it means that there are still some schools out there that I still qualify to. I just need to do the hard work now, make sure that I'm applying to the right schools, and then it's going to happen. So it was something I expected. So when I saw it, when I saw the rejection, I knew that that wasn't the end of it because there were still some other schools I should wait on.
Wow. Mr. Tunde, were you also when you opened your email?
No man will receive a rejection email without feeling bad anyway. You
Yeah.
feel sad. Sometimes you question yourself, what am I good enough for this? Is it that you know those sort of things? But you just need to just understand that this rejection is part of the process.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is that you are just have to learn the lesson from it. The first year of my application, I was just naive. I wanted to keep applying to every scholarship that is there, not knowing that, like Mr. Fred said, you just need to do your research. First thing to understand is, are you qualified for this position you want to apply for? It's not that you just have the results, you are the best student of your. Check the scholarship requirements. Does it fit into your program? Are you qualified? Those research that Mr. Fred mentioned of, it is very key to avoid scholarship rejection. Do your background research. Know that if you are applying to this, you meet the requirements. The requirements puts in allow you to put a step forward. And if you are not if you are just applying to every scholarship out there, your chances of getting rejection is very, very high.
Yeah.
The scholarship is out there. Not every scholarship are meant for you. That was the first year. That was when I said my scholarship rejection was high. I just wanted to keep applying to everything. But I realized that that's how not how things are being done. Things are not done like that. You can't just because you want to leave the country, study abroad, you keep applying to each and every opportunity that comes your way. You keep getting rejections. So that's the essence of doing your background research, like Mr. Fred said. I think that is one of the most important things of avoiding that kind of rejections.
Wow. So, not too long ago, someone sent me a message asking me about scholarships and all that, and I was trying to take the person through the process, and he was like, "No, I'm tired of even doing all this because I have applied to 10 different schools, and then I got rejected." Another person also told me she's been rejected for like 4 times. You have been rejected more than this number of times. So, what motivated you to keep on pushing, Mr. Tunde?
A lot, a lot, a lot.
He
A
wanted to leave
lot.
the
My
country.
personally for me, it was I came from a family that we are not that poor. To say we are not rich either. But I realized that if I finish my bachelor degree, I won't be able to further, even being the best student of my department. My father don't have, I don't have the my father did not have the enough fund for me to be able to fund my master's degree. And unfortunately, the department I graduated is not ready to provide any scholarship for. So that was why I said I started the application during my final year. I realized that if I don't get this scholarship, my chances of doing what I have passion for will just die. So I even while I was getting the rejection, I still get motivated because this is what keep motivating me. I know sometimes I question myself what that am I just good enough or but I know who I am. I know what I want to be. I know what I'm chasing, and I know how I have designed my dream. I've designed my future. I know how my future. I want my future to be. So the rejection sometimes hurts, but I still the present state of myself. That is not who I am. I know who I want to be, and that is what I keep progressing, and that is what keep pushing me forward. That you need to get this done, or else you'll just be like others, just roaming around the streets.
Wow, that's interesting. And Mr. Jeffrey, after receiving that painful email, what kept you pushing?
Yeah. I don't want to say I wanted to leave the country. Um, yeah, I don't want
You
to
are
say that.
tired of Ghana,
But
right?
I mean, I know,
I'm not. I'm not.
who may have caused that, but I don't want to call out anyone here. So,
No. Let's not talk about that, Fred. You know it. No, this is the roadside. So that's not part of my reasons at all. That's not part of my. That's not part of my reasons. Yeah, but um, it comes down to personal motivation, right? So in terms of finance, I realized just like Tunde, I couldn't finance myself to pursue higher education on my own, and in Ghana too, there weren't enough funding opportunities. I contacted the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat several times and through email, and I didn't get any response from them. So I realized chances of me pursuing higher education in Ghana was less, and I had to look elsewhere. So looking elsewhere means that I'm entering into a new terrain, competing with different people with
Yeah.
excellent results and excellent background. So um, I had to, and rejections are bound to happen. So I had to keep learning and then keep pushing myself. So it was a matter of personal motivation,
Mm-hmm.
um, personal reasons, and inadequate finances. Knowing that if I leave it there, there's no other way out. There's no other
Yeah.
way out. That is one thing. And two, the passion for the course I wanted to study. I read English, BA English and political science at
Mm.
Tech, and these were two things I was very much interested in. And I was working as a teacher, an English teacher, English and literature teacher, back at home. So I realized I had passion for teaching, and I didn't want to go to the training college as well. So yeah, teacher training college, I mean.
Mm.
And but there were opportunities to do education courses
Education. Yeah.
outside, yeah, which was related to teaching. So that pushed me that yeah, I can realize my dreams through these courses, and I have to keep on pushing because there are many people out there applying for the same thing. We are competing for
Mm-hmm.
the same thing. So um, the passion for what I wanted to do also pushed me to the very end of the application process. And what other thing? What other thing? I think these are the two main things. These are the two main things, excluding the fact that I didn't want to leave Ghana. Yeah, yeah.
And Mr. Fred, did you also want to leave Ghana at all costs?
um,
Was that your motivation?
I think on an individual basis, we all have our reasons for wanting to leave Ghana to study out here. And one of the truth um, is it's difficult to be able to find yourself, especially when you finish your bachelor's and you're unable to find a job that can even help you to like cater for yourself to the
Mm.
extent of having to
Mhm,
save up money towards that. And we know that most people that are able to secure loans in Ghana are people who are in the government sector. So
Yeah.
because the private sector, most of us, that worked in the private sector, your monies were put in an envelope and it was handed over to you at the end of the month. So there was nothing that you could show for, even if you wanted to go in for a loan. And so I would say that one thing that kept me motivated was with the fact that there were people I had grown up with, or there were people in my circle that had done it. And whenever we had to talk, the conversations were always about it. So Jenfi can attest to the fact that even today, till date, we still talk about applications, because I think I stopped applications just like 2 weeks ago. So basically, it's something it's something that we've been talking about since 2014. So you talk to people that have done it. They've gone through the process, and some of these people are able to tell you some mistakes that you did, some things that you can do to correct it, and that was what kept me going, because yes, I was at the same level with them. In terms of intellect, we were like the same level, and now they are there. So let me also do what they are telling me to do, or they're advising me to do. And so so I think when you have those conversations with people that have the same mindset, or that have been through those situations, it also helps you to be able to make sure that it helps you to know you are doing the right thing, and then eventually things are going to work out.
Yeah. So, talking about doing the right thing, what do you think you were doing wrong in your applications?
I think one thing that most of us do wrong, or what I did wrong, was with the fact that most of us come out of school, and the only thing we know is that we want to do our masters. One, we may want to do the same masters in the same program as our bachelors, but then we have no idea what specifically what we want to do.
Yeah.
So most of these masters programs are research based. So yes, I want to do a master's in chemistry. In what specifically? So we write a statement of purpose, and the only thing we are talking about is our interest in chemistry, and the fact that we want to come out here and do our masters, and maybe we talk about our future career. And most times the mistake we make is that these departments, they get their sponsorships from places, and those sponsorships are meant for specific research areas. So if I want to do a research in an area where the department doesn't do any research, then automatically, even though I qualify, I am not getting admitted, because you are doing something that we are not interested in. You want to come here and do something that we are not interested in. So I think that was one thing that I didn't understand when I started. So I would just write the essay, and then not have any specifics with regards to the area I wanted to focus on in terms of my research work. And then again, I didn't talk to a lot of people when I started. As usual, you try living Ghana or most African countries, and you want to keep things to yourself. Thanks to some of the things that we have been made to believe in.
Yeah.
So you try
African
to keep,
electronics.
yes, you try to keep the circle that
African
close.
tech.
You try to keep the circle that close, and so when that the circle that small, when you do that, when I did that, I think it prevented me to also having access to some information that I could have received from friends or from other colleagues that may have done it before. Yeah, so those are the two things that comes to mind.
Yeah, actually, that's even one of the reasons why we are having this program, to get people informed.
Yeah.
Right. So, what about Mr. Tunde? What were you doing wrong?
Yeah, like I said, the first thing I think I did wrong is um applying to pool of scholarships, either qualified or
Or
not
not?
qualified. Just want to
Maybe you
apply
were
and get
trying your
one.
luck.
Just want to apply and Firstly, I think the most important thing is just do your background research. I have a friend, a female friend to be specific, that only tried once and got it.
Wow.
Mm.
She got it because she did a lot of information about the school, about the program, about what was needed.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Mm.
are talking about rejection, she never had any experience about rejection, and she's currently doing her
Mm.
PhD now at I think maybe Sweden or somewhere now. I don't think she had any rejection in her career moving up from bachelor's to PhD.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think one lesson I learned from her is that when you will know that this is you see a scholarship application, take your time. Those that put the application out there, that put the criteria, the requirement, they are not stupid.
Mm.
They
Mm.
know who they want. They know what kind of application they are vetting. They have their criteria of judging
Mm.
each application, and each criteria is being stated in the requirements.
Mm.
Study the requirements. Make sure that you what your qualification meets every single list that is in the requirements. And once you are confident that you meet the requirements that have been stated, they have their own maybe statement of purpose, what you want, your career path, all those questions that if you're applying for a broad scholarship application like that of Commonwealth that wants you to have some specifics like what do you
Mm-hmm.
think you intend to do after finishing this program, all those sort of questions. They want some specifics that they want you to, and it's fine if another thing like I did not I failed when I was getting up to during the scholarship application is that I did not look for information from people who already have experience of dealing with this kind of thing. When you interact with people, you will
Mm-hmm.
interact with people that have gone through these stages. They have some experience that they can share with you that can help you in a millions of ways. And
Mm.
another thing is that when you write your application or motivation letters, all those stuff, let people vet it for you.
Mm.
You can't see your own mistakes.
We are going to come to the some of these lessons that you are sharing. But before that, Mr. Jemfi, what do you think you were also doing wrong?
I think they've said it all. They've said it all. Um, for me, I just jumped onto any application. So far as it's application and scholarship, I'll be in there. If it's only application, I'll just throw it away. If it's application and
The
full
scholarship,
funding,
uh, I'm sure the scholarship was more important to you than the application.
yeah, that's right. You're right. I was focused on the funding more than the application itself. So that is true. I had two main. The reason why I had more rejections is this. I had two main fields of interest, English and politics. So I applied to both fields, but then I was general about it. So what do I want to, what aspect of politics am I or was I interested in then? I was just broad. I'm interested in politics, maybe the public administration aspect of it, or maybe the international relations aspect of it, or maybe the governance. There were specifics I could have gone through. Eventually, I ended up getting one application, and I ended up being successful with the sociology program in China. Um, but then that was after a lot of lessons had been learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after being specific, with the teaching, it's in a broad field of education, but I had to be specific what I had to do. Teaching what? Is it teaching physics? Teaching economics? That was when I realized that there were specifics to the teaching programs outside of Ghana for master's program. So I just tailored my application. That was what I wasn't doing right. I had to tailor my application to what I wanted to do. So I realized that teaching English as an international language was something that I could tailor my interest to, and that worked. That worked. So that was what I wasn't doing right. That was what I wasn't doing right, being generic about everything and Well, for me, in terms of talking to people, I have a different experience because um, my application process was the only person I talked to was my friend. See, we were doing this together. People outside who had this experience, who I wanted to learn from, were not willing to, didn't go in detail as I wanted. They just said, "Oh, you can apply, you can apply. You just go onto the website and you can apply." So it was like, what are these people talking about?
I've been
Fred,
applying.
we were
We
working
see
in the,
rejection. So
yeah, I
what do you
can't see anything.
apply?
Yeah, what should I do differently? I was sharing with them, but I wasn't getting anything.
Yeah.
Um, um, Even I was working with Fred. Perhaps Fred didn't know how much I've done, how much applications I've put out there, but he had an idea that I was doing something. He was also an amateur, a rookie like myself. What information can we share? There's nothing we can share in between us, you see.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was asking people and the willingness of that person, how willing the person is to take you through, and how ready I was. Also the person receiving the information is also counts as is like it's also part of the things that needs to be straightened out in the application process. So it's everything they've said, being general and not talking to people, but I reached out to people, but I didn't get the information I needed. So it led me to make a lot of mistakes, a lot of mistakes. It takes time to put in one application. It takes a lot
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah.
It takes
So
yeah, it
so
takes a
what,
lot of time to put in
mhm,
one application. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
that's it. That's it.
so what lessons have you learned from all these mistakes?
A lot, a lot. First of all, the rejections are bound to come. So first, you put in a lot of applications, they are bound to come. So you have to be ready for them. But then you have to do a thorough background search to minimize time wasting, and time and energy wasting. Background search is very, very important. So when I carried on that lesson from master's application to PhD. So
Mm-hmm.
that is why I said I can count the number of PhD applications I put in because I realized that okay, background search is very, very important. You have criterion they are looking at, and before I put in any application, I made sure I tick all the criterion, every criterion. If there's any criterion I don't qualify, I measure how the impact of that criterion on the application process. And if that weighs heavily in the process, I just won't go in for that application and put in that application at all. So background search, I mean, thorough background search is very, very important. And also, if the rejections come, you can, another lesson is that you can reach out to them to find out why.
Mm-hmm.
Why this decision, and what can you do to improve your future application? Make them interested, make whoever is in charge of the application interested that you are willing to reapply to the university, and you are willing to learn, so they should give you some feedback on what you've put in. So that is one other thing I also learned. What other thing did I learn from the process? Not to give up, not to give up, because applications are very competitive, especially funding, very, very competitive, and you have to hit the nail on the head. Like, yeah, you have to be very strategic. For example, I realized that to increase your chances of application, you have to contact supervisors. This is something I didn't do before. So
Yeah.
that goes in heavily in terms of the decision that is being made. You have to contact who is willing to supervise you, whether masters or PhD,
PhD.
who is willing to supervise you, and that has a lot of impact in the decision making process. So these are some of the few things I can make mention of. I'll leave the stage to the other guests.
Okay, so Mr. Fred,
So
Lessons.
yeah, so I think the one lesson I learned from those rejections and the various applications I did was being specific with regards to what you want to come out here to do, and then also being specific with regards to searching the schools. I think one thing that is very tedious to do in terms of school application is searching for the schools. I had to search schools by each state in the United States, and we have 50 states out here, right? And I had to have a book where I write the school, the requirements they want, and whether or not I meet those. So when I had to do that, and it got to the point I had to do the applications, you know, these are the schools that you've taken, and as maybe A, you've graded them as A. These are the ones that I'm going to apply, and these are my plan B schools. So when you have that information, you know that if anything changes, I have another school that I need to apply to. The reason why I'm saying this is when I had to apply in 2017 and then it didn't work out the way I expected it, I went to the book I used for that particular year, and I went through it. I saw one school that said they would admit you if you had a GRE score of 290. My GRE score was almost 300. And I didn't apply to that school. So now I started questioning myself, why didn't I apply to that school? Right? And so I didn't have to now go back and do a whole lot of research because I had the plan B schools there. And I just went out to contact the coordinators, and that school is where I am currently studying. So yes, that really helped me. And then one thing that applicants are also supposed to know is that getting admission is different from getting funding or scholarship. So if you go to the university's website and they have there, if you have an upper, second class, upper, or first class, and this and that, you qualify to apply. Make sure you are following up on funding. Ask questions about funding, because some departments may admit maybe 3 students. Those 3 students are the ones that they can give funding to. Other departments can admit about 15 students, and they can only sponsor about 3 out of the 15. So if you go there and okay, they said first class, I had first class, so let me just put in the application, you do it, and then in the end you don't get funding. And funding is really important, especially coming from our part of the world.
International
And
students.
so when you get, I know a friend that got about 8 admissions, no funding, right? And you know how much money that it goes into applying to all those schools. Because if you are paying $50 per application, that's a lot of money. Yeah. So those are the 2 things I learned from the various rejections I received. Yeah, and it helped me a lot.
Wow. And Mr. Tunde.
Yeah, I think the speakers have said a lot about what I intend to say. The background research, the funding aspect of it. And I think one thing I would like to add is, based on my experience, I realized that this scholarship application is, I think there is one aspect of it, people are not trying to um, make use of several years. When I came across this topic of a thing, I think some supervisors, irrespective of schools, some supervisors have, so because yearly they apply for grants and they have fundings and they have calls opens for people to come in. People are not making use of that opportunity presently. You I think George can realize this. Most of the time I put some update on my status about this MSc application. People are looking for students every time. But what I realized from people is that they focus on, except from all these those that apply to the United States. I think you have to get admission before getting funding also. But others, they focus on this general scholarship calls, like the Commonwealth scholarship. Because generally that is most people believe that when you we'll talk about scholarship, their minds go straight to this Commonwealth,
Mm,
this all this general scholarship. People don't know that there are other ways you
mm,
can get you
Mm,
can get
mm,
fundings, and then use the fundings to get your admission application. For instance,
mm,
if you are looking for a master's degree, for a master's scholarship, for instance, or you have a project in mind, let's assume there's a supervisor that, okay, advertise on Twitter, I'm looking for maybe there's an MSc position in my lab. You want to do this and want to do that. Please send your CV and some other things.
mm,
Then you know that you are qualified and you have what it takes. You send your CV, you get interviewed, and you got the application. Your supervisor, okay, said you are qualified. Then you are going to be given the position. Your supervisor is going to work out the way to get the admission for you,
yeah.
because that is the correct. People
mm,
are not, what I realize, that people are not utilizing the that stream of
Mm-hmm.
mm,
getting the scholarship. People are majorly focusing on the general one, and they are not taking advantage of that second stream of application. Meet the supervisor, go into this interview pool of successful applicants. Then, if you are given the position, then you can get the admission from the school. They can work it out. When I finally got my MSc position, my MSc scholarship at China, then I know what I want. I know what I can leverage on. I eventually, during my
mm,
PhD, I got more than 7 of PhD scholarships
Wow.
using
mm.
that same. I got
Yeah,
3 from
yeah.
Australia,
Mm,
from Monash
Mm,
University, from University of New England, and from Queensland University. And I got
mm,
many others from other part of the world. But I
mm,
leverage on that other part, like, okay,
mm-hmm.
contact the supervisor, okay, you have an opportunity, let's do this, okay. And I got interviewed with other applicants. Then
Mm,
most of the time I happened to be one of the best applicant, and I was given the opportunity. Then once I got the opportunity, they, okay, go and apply to the school. You get automatic admission once your supervisor. So this is the one. The funding already cater for your admission. You are going to
mm.
get
Yeah,
paid for that. So
mm-hmm.
I use
yeah,
that stream. I never applied to, okay, let me go to any school, start applying for admission or some others. I just use that stream, and that it's worked well for me. I think that's most
yeah.
especially where people are not taking advantage on. People use Twitter, people use LinkedIn, but we use this thing
LinkedIn.
more for social
Mm.
interaction, not to take it to take. There are some source of information out there that we are not
Mm,
quite taken out from it.
So you think it's good to contact supervisors through LinkedIn, right? Or do we have a
Maybe to,
website that can?
if I can demonstrate how I used to, there are some things, like, if for instance you want to do MSc in inorganic chemistry, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
you can type in Twitter, the search box, MSc position, inorganic chemistry. Then check the
yes.
latest search. You see that there's someone that is looking for someone, or just put yourself in the position that I'm a supervisor
Mm,
and I want to look for a student in this. How will I type it in Twitter that I'm looking for? Just note the keyword. Maybe MSc, PhD should be one of your keywords to search.
mm,
Position or opportunity, or your area of interest, maybe microbes, organic chemistry, all those things. You can search it. Then you see the latest, even the one that is being posted today.
mm,
So
Mm,
you are
mm.
going to see
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Then you can leverage your contact. They will ask you, okay, send your CV, send your statement of purpose. Then before so dates, then you can leverage on that opportunity, publish your CV, publish your all your the requirement that have been asked. Then after that, after the submission, the supervisor or the team of the supervisory team will vet the application. Qualified students will be called for interview. Then you pitch yourself to
mm,
them. this year who you are and those stuff. And if you happen to be qualified, then they ask you to go and apply for admission. That the school, they will take care of everything. That's how I found myself in Australia. I didn't have to go
Yeah.
through all those general scholarship also.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
So
think
just
Can
that's
I add to what
yeah.
can I add to what Baba, sorry for cutting. Yeah.
no, 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 no,
I
no
learned
problem.
that from Yeah, I learned that from Tunde when I saw that he started posting opportunities on his WhatsApp status
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter. I began questioning myself or asking, who would post credible opportunities on Twitter? But
Mm-hmm.
he kept posting them. He kept posting them, and I did my own search, and I realized that there is a lot of opportunities, research opportunities or funding opportunities on Twitter than the generic websites you go and search for. The
Mm-hmm.
ones on LinkedIn and on Twitter are specific, and
Wow.
chances are that if you focus on those specific ones, you're going to get it, because here you are skipping the entire pool of applications
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
contacting um the person who is in charge of 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 the project.
Yeah.
So the problem there is people do not know. Many
Mm,
people, I mean, yeah, most people do not know that it's one way. And I
yeah.
think we putting it out there will draw people's attention to the fact that
Yeah. This is really a
you can
great tip.
search these things. Yeah. And I think one of our friends, Gabby, when he was applying, I think I shared this with him that he can also search on Twitter to see what happens. And that is a good. I've seen a lot of people apply, I mean, advertising position, even this morning, even job opportunities on Twitter, job opportunities on
Wow.
Twitter. So it's
So
not
it's
about
time to take
going on to,
Twitter seriously.
yeah, we have to take it seriously. Like you have to be intentional about what you want, right? You have
Mm,
to be very intentional about what you want. People go on Twitter to do anything, but if you go on there, you type in whatever you are searching for, is funding for application, then you get it. You get what you want wherever you want to find it. So these days you have the internet, so anything is possible. Then I'm also adding one more thing to what um, um, I did in terms of career, aligning application to career
mm-hmm.
also helps you get in there, because they want to see whoever is administering that scholarship or sponsorship or application wants to
Mm-hmm.
see that you're not just studying for studying sake, but you are studying to make an impact in society. So that is also something very important
Important.
in as part of the lessons you can put out. I want to put out there with for other people to learn from. Yeah.
Wow. That's good. So we have one comment here. We have Gabriel S. Noche saying top coaches, great job. Okay, thank you, Gabriel, for your comment. Right. So after all this, going through all these rejections and then taking great lessons from them, and finally receiving an acceptance email or an acceptance letter, how was the feeling like, Mr. Fred?
Um, I think it was a great experience. Um, knowing knowing that the hard work that you put in is going to pay off. But then, like I said, when you have thorough information with regards to the whole application process, you still know that there is a long way to go,
Mm.
because the fact that you got admitted and then you got funding doesn't mean that you're going to get the visa. Yes.
That's
So
awesome.
in as much as it was a great joy to get admission, and then also some form of funding, there was still more that needed to be done. And so yes, I was happy I did get the admission, but I knew there was something I needed. There were more to be done, and so I couldn't rejoice as much as I wanted to, because at that time, yeah.
It was after I'm sure it was after you got your visa that you really started.
Well, I don't know about others, but I think um it didn't actually look real, right? Because
Hey, finally.
yeah, you've been talking about this the whole time. And one funny thing about the US visa process is that you're expecting to go there, and then they ask you like millions of questions, and within like, I would say 2 minutes, my interview was done. And
Oh,
so you
after
come
all
out.
the preparations, two
Yes,
minutes.
yes. So you leave the place, and you are still thinking, like, did that really happen? Did the hard work pay off finally? Yes. So
Wow.
yeah, that was actually what happened. So yeah, by God's grace, it worked out, and I think it was a nice experience.
Wow.
I
Wow.
think I have a similar experience with US visa like that here in
Mm-hmm.
Australia. I happened to go to the US embassy to apply for visa, and the three questions they asked me is, where are you going? What are you going to do? And when are you going? And my interview is done.
Wow.
Now you can go. I was like, I traveled from Brisbane to Perth to have this just
Three
2 minutes
questions.
conversation.
Oh.
Wow. I just have to leave the following day. It was
Wow.
just
This could have been done even on a
even
phone.
on the phone. Where are you going? When are you going? What are you going to do? I
Wow.
packed my bag with so many documents in case you
Yeah.
ask of this, you
Mm.
out of that. I was like, okay, okay, you just okay. My application number is this. Where are you going? What are you going to do? You don't even ask about all that is, all those
Mm-hmm.
things that you will have
The
prepared for.
preparations. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a nice, interesting
Uh,
experience.
Interesting. And Mr. Tunde, how did you feel when you received your acceptance letter finally? I mean,
Believe
letters,
me,
because eventually you
believe
accepted to
me.
Elected.
I'm still remembering that it was around 3:03 a.m. On
Mm.
on a fateful day like this. I just woke up. When it's normally common that when you wake up from sleep, you first thing you check is your phone.
Check your phone, yeah.
I just pick up the phone and I got this message, my Gmail, and I was like, "Am I dreaming?"
Wake
Then
up.
I check it again. I was like, finally, I cried.
Oh.
Upon all those rejections,
Which university was that? I'm sure it's not
it's
where you
uh,
are
it's
now.
um it's Shanghai Jiaotong University, one of the top universities in China, in
China.
Shanghai. Yeah.
Mm.
So it's for me. It was just even the day I went for the visa interview, it was still a dream.
Oh.
I finally got to know that this is coming to reality when I was saying goodbye to my parents.
Goodbye. Oh.
It was like finally
You're
I'm
saying
leaving.
goodbye to Nigeria, not your parents.
And I'm sure you were even thinking, that, hey, what if when I get to the airport and they ask me to go back?
Yeah, those African mentality things. You keep thinking about different things. You want to keep the circle small so that you go start telling everybody that I'm going to somewhere. I'm going to somewhere so that you won't get deported. Those bad news that we've heard about.
Yeah.
Don't tell too much people. Don't do this. Don't do that. Even when you are sitting on your flight, you still be thinking that what if I land and they send me back? All those stuff. Not until I got to the school that I finished all my application process, all those things that my mind came to
Yes.
where
Oh,
that
finally,
finally
finally,
now
finally.
you're now trying to think about what you have been doing wrong over the years, what you can improve on. Then because I was a writer, then I do write about some things. I know how to use keywords to search
Mm-hmm.
for whatever I'm looking on the internet. That was when I thought about, okay, when I use Google as looking for content using some specific keywords, what about if I use Twitter to look for things? that are specific to scholarship. Then I started using it. Not that the very first day I don't get quality information, but when I start thinking that if I'm a supervisor and I want to put, because I will notice that academics now, most academics, they are now on Twitter. You see them publishing about their lab work. We publish a study on so many things. Then I now okay. What about it? Because the first day I got to the school, I started thinking about my PhD. How will I?
Ambitious
Yes,
dramatic
I just want to start. So I know that publication is very mandatory for me to get upper edge. I started working on research from day one.
Wow.
So I started thinking about leveraging on, and it pays well. The first thing, just it was a good experience and a bad one during the rejection days. But when you finally have, you feel on top of the world. It's
Yeah,
great experience.
and Gabriel is also adding that you wouldn't believe it until you finally
I
leave.
believe even when I was in the flight, I was still thinking anything can happen. It's not
Sorry, I'm laughing.
anything can happen. I was just praying
Yeah,
that
because when you land in the country, the immigration staff they might say that no, something is wrong. You have to go back home.
yeah, something happen, maybe something happen. It's not, those kind of being in Africa, you'll have had so many unfortunate stories that something happened to something happened to this. You won't you just think about several, even why it's a terrible thing.
and and I'm glad that eventually everything has really paid. You see, now we are talking about these experiences and we are laughing about them as if we've never cried over these things
Right, I
before.
cried to be sincere. I cried.
Okay, wow. And Mr. Jamfi, finally.
Yeah, I think we share similar. We share, we share similar sentiments. So in 2014 or 2014, I had successful admissions. One in China, Nanjing University of Science and Technology, and one in Thailand. I eventually went to Thailand. I was full of joy. I felt like, okay, one foot is in Ghana
Thailand.
and the other foot is somewhere in the world. I don't know. I had to decide. I had to decide. So for the China application, when I received the call from FedEx, I was full of joy. I couldn't wait. I think it was Friday. I couldn't wait for Monday to go to FedEx office for my letter.
Wow.
It was an amazing experience. And for the Thai, yeah, it was online. And I remember that day. It was a 2014 Champions League, and my friend gave me a call that the names of students who have been awarded scholarship has been published, and our names are in the list. And I was with my mom, and I couldn't hold my joy. And she asked why, and I said, "Oh, wait, I'm going to finalize everything, and I'll come back and tell you." I didn't tell her. I didn't because, as
I'm
we
sure
said, anything can happen.
you something good.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure everything is all right
It's
before
fine.
I break the news to you. Yeah. So it was really a good experience. And as all of them were saying, I mean, at the airport when I got to Thailand, my friends called me and asked me, "Oh, George, where are you?" I said, "I'm in Thailand." And you didn't tell me. I told them I didn't even know I was going to Thailand though. I didn't know. I did I didn't I, I didn't know. It was impromptu. I didn't know. Sorry about that. Like, so the same mentality, like how the culture shapes our experience. I think Fred even didn't know. Fred, did I tell you I was going to Thailand?
I mean, I did know you did tell me about going to Nigeria to get a visa, but then I wasn't sure the specific day that you were going to leave. So
You see, you didn't know. I didn't even know. I was the one traveling. I didn't know. I got to know when I got to the country. Yes, and
Interesting.
yeah, same for PhD. After I think I listed 10 universities. I remember I didn't apply to all of them, but I remember I applied to more than six of them. And finally, I got admission, and on that fateful day, my current advisor sent me an email that I've been successful with the application. I mean, the scholarship application. Even at that point, I, I I didn't celebrate because I was waiting for the official letter from the
Anything
university
could happen.
to confirm. Yeah, to confirm that I have been awarded so and so and so and so and so. Even after that, I enjoyed for like some few minutes, and I started thinking about the visa application process. In Australia, it takes months. Mine took 2 months, and yeah, eventually it came through. And the same, it's a cycle. You see, the same cycle I went through when I was traveling to Thailand. The same cycle repeated itself. Like, okay, what if I'm not allowed to enter? What if something happened at the airport? Blah blah blah. It came playing back, replaying itself. But
Yeah.
finally I got here, and it was a moment of reflection, like what we've been talking about now. What we are talking about now is it's a moment of reflection, thinking
Yeah.
through all these years, what we've done, what we have improved, and how far we've come. And we are still learning, we are still
Mm-hmm.
applying, we are still guiding people. Um, we are not we are we Life is like ups and downs, and applications rejections is one of
One
those.
of
And
them.
the
Yeah.
lessons, yeah, the lessons that we learn from them are so profound that it can be applied to any
Any
aspect of
application.
life. Yeah, any aspect of life in terms of job application. I think that will be the next application we are going to face. I mean,
Yeah.
at least for years. So I was full of joy. I told my mom about everything. I told my family members, and they were happy that I was pursuing higher education to that level. And yeah, they felt proud of me. So it's you
Yeah.
see, the joy is not for only you; it's for a lot of people who are
Mm-hmm.
related to you. So yeah, but the rejection is for only you. The heartbreaks and pain is for
Yeah,
only
you know,
you.
that's the
You
beauty of
endure that.
rejection.
The
That's the
good
beauty
one
of
is for
rejections,
all
right?
of us,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
the bad one is for
The
only you to handle. Yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
I want to share this. I want to share this experience with in 2013 or 2014 when I applied. I focused really on China at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning stages, and I got rejected because of Ebola. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I got a university that said, oh, you are not admitting students from West Africa because of Ebola outbreak and
Earthquake.
blah blah blah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Fortunate.
we unfortunate, right? And I didn't give up then. Like we are experiencing COVID-19 now, and universities are cutting funds, people travel restrictions here and there. But I think it's still possible for people to put in the application if they do thorough background work and know where
Mm-hmm.
to hit. I think it's still possible for people to put in those applications and still be successful because it's part of
Mm-hmm.
the process.
Yeah.
The pandemic is here, but it's not here to stay.
Mm.
The funding has been cut, but it wouldn't be cut forever.
Yeah.
Travel restrictions here and there, but it wouldn't be there forever.
Mm.
So these are some of the reasons advisors or scholarship bodies will put out there in order to maybe not to discourage you, but that is the reality now. But
Yeah.
how do you take this
Deal with it.
experience and then and and yeah, and turn it into an advantage? I think that
Mm.
is one thing people have to start thinking about from
Mm.
now, because these are common reasons why some of the common reasons people have been um, rejected or denied application starting 2020 to 2021. I think it could go on and on to maybe 2022. So
Mm-hmm.
when these reasons come up, when these reasons come up, we have to think around how can we turn COVID-19 into an advantage? How can we turn travel restrictions into advantage? How can we even use the pandemic as a research topic that is on something that is related to our area,
Yeah.
right? To our area. I mean, online learning, and think this is an opportunity to carve my research or carve my storyline along those lines.
Yeah.
Oh, COVID-19 has done so and so and so, and it's important to move study online, blah blah blah. There's a whole lot of interest, interest research in this opportunity in this field. So there are disadvantages here and there, but then there's always something there you can turn into an advantage in spite of all these things. And that is one thing people should focus on in the coming months or in the coming days, turning them
Yes.
into your advantage and see where things go. Otherwise, you keep on giving yourself excuses,
Excuses. Yeah.
excuses after excuses after excuses. There are a lot of excuses I can give. In
Mm.
those days, the internet connection wasn't that good. I
Mm.
did all my applications on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
all everything on my phone, everything on my phone. My laptop got stolen, and see, okay, we don't want to go in there. Like you have all your statement of purposes on your laptop, and it gets stolen.
Mm.
How are you going to see? It's a whole like somebody will say it will bust your mind. You go crazy. You go crazy. But,
Yeah.
but yeah. So that is one thing I want to um add to what you are talking about now. Mm.
Wow. Well, I have really learned a lot today. Yeah, and I'm sure our viewers have also learned a lot. Yeah. So in all this, Mr. Fred, what would be your advice to someone who is going through application rejections?
Um, I would encourage everyone that wants to apply to universities out here for further studies to go ahead and do so, because there are vast opportunities out here for people that want
Mm.
to come out here and study. But then one thing that some of the things that I would also advise them on is to know what they want to come out here to do, and then not to limit themselves, because I think some people just want to come to the US, some people just want to go to Australia, and because of that, they limit themselves and then go apply, get rejected, apply again, get rejected. Meanwhile, they could have tried another country and
Yeah.
then
Mm.
probably ended up getting admitted. And so they know yourself, don't limit yourself to like some specific areas. Try and then explore, and also be ready to do certain things yourself and ask for guidance. The
Mm.
reason why I'm saying this is that you have certain situations where applicants contact you, and because they know you've written a lot of SOPs and some other essays, some would request that you write it for them, or maybe give them a sample or something like that that they can use. Most times I tell them to try and they come up with it themselves, because graduate school is a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Graduate school is a
Mm.
whole lot. So if you are not willing to do the initial research, how to do some of these research that they were about Tunde was talking about, then how are you going to like be able to handle the workload when you get
Yeah.
admitted and now you have to study?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first step. Get certain things done yourself, and then you can ask for guidance from people that you know can help you, um, with those situations. And then be specific when you are writing your SOP. Don't generalize it. Don't copy anything that you see on the internet,
Yeah.
because they
Mm.
check some of
Mm.
those things. They are very much particular when it comes to plagiarism,
Plagiarism.
when it comes to
Mm.
misrepresentation, submitting documents that are fraudulent.
Mm.
Some of us take some of those things lightly.
Mm.
I know of someone that that was in a similar situation. Actually, he didn't do it himself. He paid someone to apply and all those things, The guy ended up submitting fake doc. Even his certificates, the guy forged, and his grades were good. It's not like he didn't have the grades. He had the grades. Goes for the interview, gets the visa. Kotoka Airport, trying to get on a plane. That's when his name gets announced that there's a problem with his visa, so he has to come back to the embassy. Now, when he called, the only thing I told him was that he didn't have to go back to the embassy, because whenever you fill any official document, like applying for a visa, they ask you if you're applying on your own or is someone helping you to do so. Since he wasn't part of the process, he wouldn't know whether the guy put his name there or the agent used his own name. And so you can't go there and give an excuse that I had no idea, because those documents are in your name.
Yeah.
So as I talk to you now, he's in Ghana and he's been banned from applying to that particular country on any form of visa.
Oh.
Right? So be ready to do some of these things yourself, and then seek guidance, and then get the essays that you write and the required documents reviewed by people before you send them out there. Yeah. So these are the very few things I can think of.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and talking about the SOP and people copying from the internet, yeah, I think it's really important because you are sharing your story. Your story is different from mine.
Yeah.
So if you want to write my story as yours, it won't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no matter how your story is, just own it and then write it. Who knows? It's your true story that might even show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mr. Tunde, what would be your advice to someone who is going through application rejections?
My advice is to progress in life. You just one way or the other, you will get rejected. Even the so-called professor that are at the top of their career, they also apply for grants, they apply for all those stuff. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that rejection is part of the process to the peak. You can't just wake up every day and just flying high. Sometimes you need to refuel. Sometimes you just have to get the rejection letter. Everything cannot be smooth every day. So just learn that rejection is part of life. It's okay for you to be served for a couple of days, but you just have to move on. Treat the rejection as love letters and just move on. Yes, because there's a group I have. They told, have you received your love letters? So they call the rejection, instead of being called rejection letter, they call it love letter. Yes, you just have to just move on. It's okay for you to get rejection. It's okay for you to be sad for the first couple of weeks, but you just have to look up. Don't believe on your goal. Don't question your self-worth and keep applying. To win a scholarship, you just have to apply.
Yeah.
If you don't apply, you don't win. And if you go because of your rejection, you are not applying anymore, you are not getting anywhere in terms of the scholarships. So you need to learn from the lesson, keep applying, ask people to review your documents, make sure, like Mr. Fred have said, your SOPs, you check it for plagiarism, make sure that your content is original.
Yeah.
In this advanced world, they treat plagiarism as something very serious. You know, from where we come from, we take it even as PhD levels, they just take it with levity hands. So here they take it very, very, very serious offense. But people are fond of copying every content from the internet as claiming it as their own, copying people's story and trying to rephrase some things and claiming it as their own. So we should try to desist from this sort of art, create our content, make it originality of our own original content, and we should never underestimate ourselves. Once you underestimate yourself, you won't go above that limit you have placed yourself. Don't underestimate yourself and always believe in the power of your dream. Once you believe in the power of your dream, that will be the fuel that will keep pushing you forward, even despite the rejection. Try to learn from the lesson, ask people to review your documents, meet mentors that can when you talk about the mentors, make those ones that are specific to your area of interest, because with that they have more knowledge of what everything might be in your area of study. So, like if you are studying chemistry for example, and you have someone that you call your mentor in maybe educational stuff, there will be a limit of the amount of guidance that it's going to give you. The
Yeah.
guidance would be generic. It
Yeah.
won't be specific. But when you have a mentor that is so much specific to your field, the guidance will be very much tailored and specific to your area of interest, and it will help you in so many ramifications. Have specific guidance that is tailored to your, and just keep applying. I think that would be my advice for everyone that is trying to apply for scholarship out there. I wish everyone best of luck in
Thank
achieving their dreams.
Thank you. Keep applying. Okay. Mr. Jemfi, your advice.
Okay. Last words, last words, last words. Yes. What I would say, first of all, is that in the application process, people shouldn't restrict themselves to particular countries. We tend to focus more on first world or Western countries whenever we are applying, putting applications. But there are other opportunities in other countries. So far as the opportunities fit your dreams, and so far as there are necessary supports there will be necessary support to support your the cause. You should give it a go. You never know where it will lead to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
people shouldn't restrict themselves to like only the US or the UK or Australia or other, maybe Canada, but China, for instance, there are a lot of opportunities there. Some Eastern European countries, even Thailand these days, they are opening up. They're opening up little by little, and I can assure you they've got good opportunities there. Um, yeah, so they shouldn't restrict themselves. We shouldn't restrict ourselves. And another thing is that they said it's the SOPs and all those stuff. But another thing which I'm particular about is the fact that these days COVID-19 has brought a lot of um, uncertainties in terms of application process, and now more than ever they have reasons to reject you. Mostly based on funding, mostly based on the number of slots. So when these reasons come up, you shouldn't give up. They are bound to come. Being aware of the situation at that time is part of the journey. It's part of the journey, and knowing how to work around it will set you apart from the crowd. Will make your case a special case. So people should be aware of that these situations, and in the course of the application, they should think about how they can use that as an advantage. And Baba said it, or you can never win unless you try. You can't just sit and say you want to apply, you want application to come to your funding, or an admission offer should be sent to you. You try, you get knocked down in the face, and you get up, you dust yourself up, and then you move on to the next step. So imagine there are a lot of no's, like 5,000 no's in the path before you get to one yes, or 5,000 or 100 rejections before you get to one acceptance, and you get knocked down 99 times and you give up, and you are not getting to your one acceptance.
Yeah.
So and your dreams will power you, as Baba said. The power of your dreams is amazing. It's one thing that fuels you. If you believe in it and you keep on hitting hard, you keep on searching, and you keep on getting up anytime you are knocked down, eventually there'll be a breakthrough. And background search, knowledge is power. Lack of knowledge, people perish. We've perished because we didn't have knowledge in the
Yeah.
initial stages of our applications. Our perishing being that we got a lot of rejections, right? But now we are not perishing again.
Mm-hmm.
We are thriving because we have the knowledge. So
Yeah.
people, yeah, people should keep on searching for knowledge about where to search. I mean, in fact, where to search, Twitter, how to search keywords, which schools, the opportunities in there, being specific about it. They are all bodies of knowledge that can come together to make a successful application. So these are my last words out there. And also yeah, that's it. That's it.
Thank
That's what
Let
else?
me
Yeah.
chip this in. So there was one thing I forgot to say. I think one thing that people also applicants also try to do is they try to take the easy way out. When I say the easy way out, most of the schools or the applications expect you to write certain international exams. And so some people talk to you, you send them materials, and they go through it, and they come back and tell you, oh, I spoke to this person, and this person is saying that there are scholarships out there that do not require me to write this exam or that exam. And so maybe what do you think I should do? And mostly what I tell them is that if your plan is to go to wherever you want to go study and then come back home, then you could go for one of those scholarships, because in with regards to most of those government scholarships, there are stipulations that say that you have to go back home and then sometimes spend no less than 2 years or 3 years back home before you can decide to travel again. And so if your plan is to do a PhD right after your master's, in a situation whereby you go out there with such a scholarship, you're not going to be able to further your PhD, do your PhD, unless you go back home, spend an extra 2 or 3 years waiting. So don't always be ready or be fast to take the easy way out when people tell you that it's not important to write the GRE exam or the GMAT exam. They go a long way to make your application very competitive when you do and you have a very good score.
Wow. Wow.
I
Thank
think one thing I would like to add, like George said, we are in this pandemic era now, and mostly people are cutting funds, and people should focus their application on countries that are currently allowing international applicants to come in. Like Australia, for instance, I know people that got the scholarship 2020 that have not even been opportune to come in. Some the scholarship have been withdrawn. So instead of waiting and keep waiting till they open up their borders, look for countries that are opening up, that are, that are allowing international applicants, international students to come in. Then focus now on applying on those countries instead of focusing on countries that have shut down their borders to the rest of the world. I think that will save us time if the time is not on your side to keep apply. That will save you times of keep waiting and looking into, well, God knows when they are going to open up.
Wow.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Uh,
and I
there's some-
also like to I mean, just I would like to send shout outs to my friend Wellington. He's watching and he wants some shout outs from me. So just on
Hi.
the side.
Yeah. Mr. Tunde, would you also like to say hi to someone?
Yeah, I would like to say hi to my wife. It has been a tough year for us due to the border shutdown. She has
Sorry.
not been able to
Oh,
join me here for over one and a half
Um,
years now. I would like
oh,
to appreciate her, trying to thank her for being so strong for me.
mm.
Despite
uh,
all odd, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, madam. Mr. Fred.
Yeah, I want to say a very big thank you to my family and friends. I think they are the ones that keep motivating us, and that has brought us this far. There are times that you feel down, and then you talk to family, you talk to friends, and um, you are able to overcome some of the difficulties that you are going through. I can't mention names. And then also the advisors, God blessed me with Dr. Spalding and
mm,
Dr. Tete. They've really helped me with regards to my graduate study out here in the US.
Wow.
Mm.
Thank
Yeah, and
you.
shout out to all the rejections I've received. All
Shout out
those
to all those
rejections.
schools that have sent me rejection. I love you all. No bad
Shout
feelings.
out to all those schools. No bad feelings.
They've all
So thank
shaped
you.
you into becoming who you
Yeah,
are
yeah,
today,
yeah.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
yeah. We thank them very much, and shout out
Yes.
to the acceptance we've received as
And shout
well.
out to those schools
And
that gave us the first smile. Yeah, the
Yes.
ranger.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, so
yeah.
thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time and for sharing your stories with us and for the information also.
Mm.
I really do appreciate that. I'm sure viewers have learned a lot because I myself, I have learned a lot. Thank you so much. And viewers, thank you for watching and see you in our next episode. Bye-bye.